podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. The show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Saturday, September 25th, 2021. This is episode 1831. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Nareva. Nareva is revolutionizing audio for meeting and learning spaces by making it possible to get full room microphone coverage in medium to large spaces without the cost and complexity of multi-component Pro AV solutions. And that is a revolution. Learn more at nareva.com/twit. And by AT&T. If there are friends and family members you haven't talked to in a while, don't worry. It's never too late to reconnect. To help, AT&T is offering deals on the latest smartphones. It's not complicated. Everyone deserves something new. So AT&T is giving new and existing customers their best deals on every smartphone, even the latest ones. Restrictions and exceptions may apply. Visit att.com for details. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches, all that jazz. This is the show we talk tech. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number, 888-827-5536. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, you can still reach me. Oh, yes, you can. Indeed, you can, but you have to use Skype out or something like that to call. 8888 Ask Leo. Website, techguylabs.com. I mentioned that because as you're driving around enjoying your fine weekend, you might hear something on the show and say, I'd like to make a note of that. No need. You can just go to the website at your leisure where James DeRuvo is writing it all down for you. Consider him your personal scribe. James writes it all down, puts it all up at techguylabs.com. It's free for you to peruse. There's no sign up. There's no fee. I don't want your stinking email address. What would I do with it? I'm not going to bombard you with emails or anything. Because who needs more emails, right? techguylabs.com. So if I mention something, we'll put links up there. You can also leave comments if you hear something and it gets your dander up. You can put your dander on the page. techguylabs.com. The new iPhones are here. I am a conscientious objector this year. I shall not be purchasing the new iPhone, which for some reason is making my wife really mad. I am in an unusual situation here. My wife says, you have to review the new iPhone. It's your job. I said, I don't want to review the new iPhone. It's your job. Okay. So this is her new iPhone. The iPhone 13 Pro Max. It's my contention, here's my iPhone 12 right next to it, that it's probably not needed for anybody to upgrade from a 12. Probably not even from an 11. How often do you buy a new phone? Every couple of years? Every 3 years? Every 4 or 5? A lot of the calls we get, people are still, using iPhone 6s. iPhone 6S still gets iOS 15, the new operating system. So I'm going to release this new iPhone from its prison. No, it's a much thinner box the last couple of years because they don't put the charger in there anymore. They do put a cable in. Besides the fact that hers is gold and mine is blue, I can't really... It looks pretty much the same, doesn't it? Let's take this silly piece of paper off the front and turn them over. Turn hers on, I guess. Well, it's pretty. She's got the gold surgical steel. Or is that what it is? I think it is. So it's very pretty. But I don't think there's a huge, just enough difference that you can't use your old case. Thanks, Apple. Let's see. I'm just going to see if my case fits on her iPhone. Camera's in the same place. Case, wow, it seems to, it's like this close. It's just they just changed it a little bit, so you can't. You could, but you'd have to if you have to be kind of, the corner doesn't go all the way in because the camera's moved a millimeter. That's silly. That's silly talk. The notch is a little bit smaller. You can't really tell because you can't really see it. See, I don't think the notch is all that exciting, honestly, or that distracting. Remember, we all thought, the notch is terrible. Even Samsung kind of made fun of the notch. Remember, they had people waiting in line at the Apple store making fun of the notch, and they had haircuts with the notch and all that stuff. Okay, so this is the new, there you go. There you have it. You've seen it here. I was more excited about, you've seen it, it's the radio, but you could pretend you've seen it. You could say, I saw it on the radio. I'm more excited about the iPad mini. The new iPad mini is also here. I like the mini. And you know what they did with the mini, which is kind of interesting this year? They made it like a mini Pro. So it has the same squared off corners. And it's got a Type-C connector. Why is that good? Well, because you probably have a lot of Type-C cables. Certainly going to have more and more. And chargers. And Lightning is Apple's proprietary thing. Type-C everybody uses for your laptops, your phones, your tablets, everything. In fact, I think the EU is about ready to tell Apple, buddy, you gotta start using the Type-C connector. I don't know what Apple's response will be to that, but that's the story that's going around. Let me compare this. I have my other iPad is the pizza box iPad, the giant 12.9-inch iPad. Compare that to the mini, which is just a little thing in the corner. But see, I'm actually kind of thinking, so what I've decided, no one should have both, by the way. That's nuts. That's crazy talk. And this isn't even that much. I mean, you compare the new iPad mini, which is 8 inches, to the 6.7 inches of the new iPhone. There's not a huge difference. It's just a little bit bigger. I'm setting this up to be a content consumption iPad, like for watching movies, watching TV, reading the news, reading books. It's kind of like that. It's too small, really, to use the keyboard to, you wouldn't want to do email on it. You could check your email. I don't think you'd want to do your email on it. Send in, write lengthy emails, little short ones, I guess. I think it's more of a content consumption device. And the other iPads, the 11 and the 12, are really more like computers. In fact, the 12.9-inch iPad Pro is a computer, priced at a computer price too, by the way. It's just a touch computer. Instead of a Mac, you get an iPad Pro, and that's your computer, I feel like. Okay, there you go. Show and tell on the radio. Okay, honey, I reviewed it. You can have it back now. Don't you feel like that we're at the point where it's like, okay, I don't need one. I think Apple's got to do one every year for the people who are 3 or 4 or 5, 6, 7 years out. If you have an iPhone 6, you might want to get the iPhone 13. That makes sense. They've got a mini. They've got the iPhone 13. They've got the iPhone 13 Pro and the iPhone 13 Pro Max. Here's your choices right there. It's pretty. I like the gold. Lisa wanted gold. I think she made a good choice. It's very pretty. What else is in the... one other thing, of course, iOS 15 came out, too, the new iOS or iPad OS, depending on your device. And somebody wrote the headline, Apple, instead of it just works, they should change your motto to it's just work. And I have to say, with regard to the new focus features, it feels like before you can even use your iPhone, I missed 8 calls because the default setup for the new focus feature was don't ring the phone. I had to go in there and go, wait a minute. It looks like it's a lot of work. It's cool because you can do so much more with this new focus. You can say what apps are on your home screen, what apps you don't see. You could have, for instance, a work setup where only people who are, calling you for work can ring the phone and send you messages, and only the work apps are visible. You can also have a home setup and a sleeping setup and a driving setup. You can have as many as you want. And I have set up for work so it won't ring while I'm doing the radio show. And I can do that by saying whenever I'm in this building, turn on work. So that's nice. But it is a lot of work to set this up. I just wanted a public service announcement. You can still just have plain old do not disturb. In the control center, there's a little crescent moon next to the focus setups. Just hit that. It turns the phone off. It makes it silent. You can just do that. Just make it simple for yourself. If you're willing to put the energy into it, I think the focus feature is kind of cool. It's basically acknowledging, as Apple has been doing for the last couple of years, yeah, we're a little over-attached to our phones. We spend a little too much time looking at it. You could even set up, an influencer focus mode. Like, if I'm at a restaurant, put the camera in food mode, pop up my Instagram, make me do a TikTok. You could even, with enough effort, you can even, create little scripts for it and all sorts of things. So if you're the person who likes to fiddle with your phone, which is kind of the opposite of what Apple's motto has been in the past. No fiddling. It just works. Now it's just work. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. Website techguylabs.com. We're going to go to the phones. Kim Schaffer's here. She's going to be answering your phones in just a second. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. Play the sound, Damien. We're ready to go to commercial. We'll come back with your phone calls in just a little bit. Damien, play the music. There you go. He was looking for the button. Professor Laura has the day off. We just have to. Damien was napping. Go ahead. Were you in the other room? Where were you?
I was hitting the button, but it wouldn't go. Yeah, it wouldn't go.
I hate it when that happens.
So I had to hit it manually.
I hate it when that happens. They've been messing with it. That's why. They're in there. They're doing the iHeart thing. Remember they used to do that? They'd come in our beautiful studio, perfect setup, and they'd mess it up, and then they'd disappear. Yeah. Bummer, man. Oh, I don't care. I don't know what to do. I don't know if it's playing, if it's not playing, so I just don't do anything. I just keep talking. I go, Damien! That's the worst feeling. That's like the nightmare we radio people have. The headphones are all tangled up. The buttons don't do anything. The song is running out. Hate that. Why are you laughing?
Because I'm always expecting a different song every week, and I wasn't expecting that
Damien
one.
likes the old... He did this. He edited this, right?
Yeah, he did.
It is, ladies and gentlemen, the unbreakable Kimmy Schaffer. She's our phone angel for the day.
For the day.
For the day. Well, every day. Hello.
Good day, sir.
Good day, sir. I said good day. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm kind of overwhelmed with too many gadgets, to be honest with you. I am. You of all people. You'd think the gadget guy, the tech guy, be like a Christmas tree and everything, but the cost and the waste is starting to make me a little queasy.
It's very obnoxious that phone looks exactly the same and that case didn't fit.
Isn't that obnoxious?
That's like they just want another $50 from you.
Yep. They got it.
I was fuming in here, but
they got it.
That's why I still have my 10XS Max or whatever, and I will have it.
Perfectly good phone.
I will have it until it decides to die on me.
It's a perfectly good phone. Ain't nothing wrong with it. The biggest difference in the new iPhone is the camera, and there are some nice features on the camera, but not enough to say, oh, get rid of that old one. And the good news is most of the time, especially these 1 year or 2 year old phones, somebody else is going to get it. Either somebody in your family or you're going to bring it to Apple for recycling. They're going to sell it to somebody else refurbished. So, it works out. It's not going to the landfill, I hope.
I hope.
I hope. So, who should I talk to
Well,
here?
it seems like everybody's things are
Busted?
Not working this morning when you wake up and
Busted.
turn them on. So,
Yeah.
because I got 2 calls like that. So let's start with Allison in Mission Viejo.
Okay.
Line 1.
Thank you, Kim. Hello, Allison. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. This is Allison.
Hi, Allison.
Help.
Did you fall into a wind tunnel, or are you driving? Are you on your motorcycle?
You guessed it. No, I'm on the 405 freeway.
Oh.
Heading south.
At least you're making good time. It sounds like you're moving. Unusual.
I'm moving, but my desktop is not moving.
What happened?
That's what I'm asking you. It's been fantastic. It's only 3 years old. I love it. I love my setup. I love the screen. Nice big screen. And this morning, nothing would fire up.
So what happens? You turn it on and it's just dark and you don't hear any noise or anything?
Nothing. No noise.
As if it's not plugged in, right? Do lights come on? Anything?
On the monitor, a little light comes on in the bottom right corner that's green, but nothing comes on the screen.
Okay.
And then when you depress it, it's gray, but nothing comes on the screen.
Who made the computer? What kind of computer is it?
It's an HP desktop, a really nice one.
Is it one of those all-in-ones where the screen is part of the computer?
No.
It's not.
I have a separate screen. It's just the tower.
Okay, just a tower. So the screen, do you turn on the screen manually, or just it's sensing that you turned on the tower and its light comes on?
It actually is a manual.
Okay. So you pressing the button on the screen doesn't mean anything because the screen is going, yeah, okay, I'm powered up, but that's it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And I usually leave them both on 24/7.
That's fine. So you didn't turn it off? It just went off all by itself?
Exactly. It was fine last night, and then I went in this morning.
You got up and nothing. And it's dead. It's dead silent. The tower is dead silent. You don't hear fans or anything.
Not a thing.
Okay. So
No
there's a
signs
couple
of
of possibilities. And don't be hurt. Don't take this as an insult, because I always start with the easiest thing to fix and then work my way up. Is it plugged in?
Yes.
You'd be amazed. People call this show are smart, but you'd be amazed if you work in tech support, how many people you go, is it plugged in? And they go, wait, let me check. Oh, no. But it's plugged in, and the cable isn't falling out of the back of the computer either. Make sure it's a good, solid connection at the back of the computer, too.
Right. That
Okay.
was what we did this morning. And
Yeah.
3 of us looked at it and
Unplugged it, plugged it, making sure. And you know there's power coming into that plug socket on the wall, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. Other
Okay.
things are working.
You plugged something else into it. Okay. So what almost certainly has happened here is the power supply on the HP died. If you turn it on and you're giving it power and it doesn't come on, and you don't hear beeps or boops or fans moving or anything, the juice isn't getting to the motherboard, which means, there's a thing in between the plug in the wall and the motherboard that's called the power supply. And actually, it's taking the AC power that's coming out of the wall and it's converting it into DC, because that's what the computer wants. So it's a little transformer. These things die. It's not at all unusual. Unfortunately, I think you said it's a couple years old. It's probably out of warranty, but it's not an expensive fix. Be careful. It's a tower, which means you could probably do it yourself. You can order another one. HP sometimes makes cases that are not standard, so you can't just go online and get a Corsair power supply and put it in. It may not fit. You probably have to get one from HP. I'd call HP. Or bring it to somewhere that sells HP, or an HP authorized repair center, because they'll have the part. The part itself, under $100. Then there's labor, which isn't too much. You just some screws. Never open the power supply. There's capacitors in there, can zap you, but it's a sealed case. It even says, don't open it up. No user serviceable parts inside. So you're not going to open that up. But I think that's what needs replacement pretty clearly, because nothing's getting juice, not even the fans. That means the power supply is just gone. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Scott Wilkinson, next. Yeah, HP doesn't use standard PC parts, so you can't just get a third-party replacement. You're going to have to go out and get one that's an HP one. Oh, I forgot the Microsoft event. I know. I'll talk about that later. There's a lot going on in there. And honestly, I don't really need another iPad, but this is so cute. This would be a good travel iPad. It's just so little. It's hiding my wife's face, though. I don't like that. And I love it that this Touch ID, it's not this Face ID junk, which is no good these days because Face ID with a mask ain't so good. Notice it uses the Apple Pencil 2, which is kind of fun. I can even do this note thing that they do, which is really cool. This bugs the heck out of me, though. See these widgets, these black widgets? I don't know what's going on with that. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Some of the widgets work, and then sometimes they do work. You can kind of see they're sort of there. I don't know what's going on. There it is. They came back. Why is that? Delayed widgeting. Maybe it's because it's new. I don't know. I know. I like the Samsung having both face and touch. These days, I think that's a nice thing. See, that fits just perfectly right into the screen there. And you know what? Because it's so small, it's really good for vertical. Like this is Reddit, Apollo, and it's a perfect Reddit thing. You know, it's just right. Let's see what else would be good. It would be good. There, it's doing that again. See? I don't know why. I don't know why. For books, Kindle books. Okay. 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 So we'll turn it. When you turn it like this, it's just right. Okay. Tap the middle of the page. So that's it's kind of nice for books. You could do it this way, but I mean, I guess that's preference. I just like, it's just, see the big one, you don't turn it sideways because it's just too big. It's like, this is driving me crazy. God, driving me crazy. It was not iOS 15 when it came, but I updated it immediately, of course. So this is iOS 15. Yeah, I think maybe the 11-inch M1 is probably a good choice. It's interesting. This is an A15. This is the same processor as in the new iPhone. So this is, and I love it that it's Type-C, which to me is fantastic. Hey, talking about good audio these days, with people coming back to work and going in the conference room and then having these conference calls. What have you done to solve the audio problem? I mean, you have a couple of choices. I guess you could go get a Pro AV system, especially if it's a big room, right? A little room, I guess you don't need anything, but it's nice. I'm very audio sensitive, so maybe it's just me. But if you've got a mid-sized large room, you go out and get a Pro AV system, you're going to have a bunch of different components, right? You're going to have mics, you're going to have speakers, you're going to have a box somewhere, you're going to have to install them in the ceiling, spread the mics on the table. There's a lot of cables you got to trim and hide away so people don't trip and fall. Then you're going to need specialized technicians to install it, to spec it, to calibrate it. Takes days for installations. Could cost you tens of thousands of dollars per room for purchase and installation. And I don't have to tell you this because a lot of businesses have gone through this. There's a better alternative. It's called Nureva, N-U-R-E-V-A, Nureva Audio. You can install it yourself. It takes about 30 minutes, 2 screws, 1 cable. If you can install a sound bar, it's basically just a speaker, but it has the microphones, and it has these are patented. They call it the microphone mist technology. And you're going to get exceptional audio for a room, from 25 by 25 room, pretty big. You got a bigger room, 30 to 50 feet, you can have 2 bars, and they'll cover the, one on each end, cover the whole room. You can do it yourself. No technician involved, no calibration, no wiping down of microphones. The Pro AV system is going to use fancy mics that have to be calibrated. People will have to stand in a specific spot. There'll be an X on the floor. Stand here or sit here. With Nareva, the microphone mist fills the room with 1,000 virtual microphones. You can face any way you want, and it just adjusts automatically. You can socially distance, and it just adjusts automatically, continuously auto-calibrating, so your room's always ready. True full room coverage, no matter where speakers are in the room, no matter which way they're facing. You don't need any training either. You get the Nareva console with your system. It's easy to use. It's intuitive. It lets you monitor, manage, adjust, and scale your fleet of systems from anywhere. From one room to 100. It's amazing, and there's no training required. You'll go, wow, this is great. Are you going to go with the expensive one, or are you going to go with the one that really works? Patented technology, very cool. Nareva, NUREVA.com/twit. Please use that address so they know you saw it on the Tech Guy Show. Nareva, designed to simplify. And these days, the last thing we need is more complicated technology. Nareva, NUREVA.com/twit. We thank him so much for this Tech Guy support. And thank you for supporting the show by using that special address. Nareva.com/twit. He is Mr. Hip himself, Scott Wilkinson, home theater geek, contributor at TechHive.com, and our regular home theater guru, talking about big screen TVs and surround sound. Hello, Scott.
Hey, Leo. How's it going?
It's going great. How are you?
I'm great, man.
All right. You sat and watched a lot of TV last night.
Well, talk about your home theater.
Yes.
I sat last night and watched both episodes that are currently available of Foundation.
This is the new Apple TV show series based on the classic Isaac Asimov. It's from the 50s, right? Science fiction.
It's 50s, yeah.
Yeah, pretty old. I remember reading it when I was in high school. Mm-hmm. I think most people did. And it's a science fiction classic. Many volumes. Many volumes.
Well, yeah, the original was a trilogy, 3 books, which themselves, or at least the first one, was composed, basically put together from a series of short stories.
Like iRobot. Isaac likes to do that, I think.
Yeah, he likes to do that. Right, exactly. So he ended up writing the first 3 books, and then he wrote some sequels and some prequels, some of which were published after his death. But
the premise of it's a distant future.
Yeah,
and
50,000 years into the future.
I don't think it's a spoiler to say it's about a psychohistorian named Harry Seldon who uses math to predict the future.
Right, to predict the behavior of very large groups of people, large populations. And at this point,
it is not about reinforced concrete. It's not that kind of foundation. Just want everybody to know, it's not a book about building houses. It's about sci-fi are there space
building and are
there space rockets and spaceships and planets?
Oh, there are spaceships. Oh yeah, definitely. Now, I just recently read the trilogy again. I mean, like you, I read it, I think, in college, maybe in high school.
Yeah, because I don't remember it much, which I hear might be an advantage in watching this show.
Yeah, I'm afraid it is.
Because they're not really sticking to it.
The only thing that this show resembles in the books is the basic overall structure, which you just said.
Yeah.
You know, it's a galactic civilization, 50,000 years in the future. An empire, which is on the verge of collapse. And Harry Seldon predicts it, and the emperor is all pissed off that he's predicting the collapse of the empire. And but other than those sort of basic things, and a few of the characters, the primary characters, there's not much else. Everything else has been created out of whole cloth and inserted into this to make it more exciting, I assume. There are fights, and there's a little gratuitous violence.
Violence
that I'm not really happy about.
Is there gratuitous sex?
No,
it's
much
Apple.
Of that.
It's Apple.
At least
please.
Not yet. At least not yet. You know,
Apple,
we've got 10 episodes.
Apple shows that it's hip by putting swear words in. They don't have
Yeah, they don't have to do
nudity.
sex, right?
They don't do sex. That's HBO. Don't get confused.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So, there's an awful lot in there that's not in the books. It just was created for the series.
Right.
I will say this. From a home theater perspective, the image from this series is spectacular.
So that's really your bailiwick. So is it
is.
HDR, Dolby Vision?
Absolutely. Yep, Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos if you have a Dolby Atmos sound system.
So the rocket ships go overhead as well as left and right.
Oh, yeah. But man, oh, man, the images are just stunning.
So watch it on your HDR OLED if you've got it.
HDR is just
4K?
beautiful.
Is it 4K?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Absolutely.
These days, they film this stuff, I think, on digital cameras, right? And so,
oh, yeah. Yeah.
In fact, this is probably...
I actually didn't notice. I have to look at the credits again to see what they filmed it on. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Red or ARRI digital camera.
The ARRI
like
Alexa,
that.
they call it. Yeah, that's very popular.
Yeah, Red's very popular too.
Mm-hmm.
Could have been Sony. I'll have to look and see. I don't remember. But
and of course, there's probably
so beautiful.
They're probably only filming actors because everything else is green screen.
A lot of it is green screen, I'm sure.
There's kind of three ways you can do special effects. One is what they call practicals, where like in the original Star Wars, they had physical models. And, in the ocean, it's a giant tank, things like that. Those are called practical effects.
With a miniature ship that looks like they shoot it to make it look like a big ship.
And, we're getting a little more sophisticated. Those things maybe don't fool us quite so much. CGI is completely computer generated, so they have a green screen behind the actors. Sometimes the actors aren't even shown. They're in a suit that is mapped out, and like Gollum in the Lord of the Rings, and it's a virtual character. There's a third way to do it, which is more modern. This is how they shot The Mandalorian on Disney Plus, where the sets are giant LCD screens.
Actually, they're giant LED screens.
LED LCD. Or they're direct view LED.
Direct view LEDs. They're like the Samsung The Wall or Sony Crystal LED.
So they're micro LED.
They're micro LED. That's exactly right. And I've seen examples of that, and it's really amazing.
Oh, yeah.
So it sort of replaces the green screen.
And it's better for the actors because they can kind of see where they are. And you can do camera moves because the screen, the background is tied to the camera, so it moves with you, so it doesn't get weird perspective effects. That's how the Mandalorian is shot. I'm wondering if that might be the way this is shot.
It's a good question. I have to do some research into that and see. Yeah. But boy, the only problem I have with the imagery is that there are some shots where there are characters talking or something, and there's some super bright light behind them.
But it wouldn't be HDR if there weren't some super bright light behind them.
Well,
they do that, don't they? It's when 3D was big in the movies. You'd have stuff flying at you.
This?
Yeah.
Let's do whatever we can with this. Yeah, we do it because we can. No, you should do it because you should do it, and not when it doesn't serve the purpose.
Because it takes you out of the story, because you're going, I know why they're doing that big bright light.
Yeah. But that's a few scenes.
Okay.
For the most part, the imagery is just gorgeous.
Nice.
Just gorgeous. Now, I will say this. The sound is, I think, mixed pretty poorly. I'm having trouble with understanding all the dialogue. Now, part of that is that we got a lot of British actors.
Jared Harris is the star, Harry Seldon. I love him.
Harry Seldon.
I just found out, I was reading a profile of him in the New York Times. He's Richard Harris's son. MacArthur Park is melting in the dark. the great Irish actor Richard Harris.
Yeah.
It's his son.
I didn't know that. But you can sort of see a resemblance once you know that. Makes some sense.
Yeah.
He's very good.
Love him. He was in Chernobyl and Mad Men. He's a very, very talented actor. I like him.
Very talented actor. Another thing that I like that they did was in the original series, in the original books, virtually all the characters are men because it was written in the 50s.
Yeah. There were no women in the 50s, believe it or not.
Well,
it was just a bunch of us guys.
Exactly. And the women who are in the book, for the most part, with one major exception, are secondary.
This is why older science fiction doesn't age very well.
So what they did in the Foundation was they changed the gender of a number of primary characters to no ill effect.
No, of course not.
It works fine.
Good.
It works totally fine.
Good.
And I'm glad they did, and women of color too, for that matter. So it's generally speaking, very good. Now, I don't like the...
It's no Bridgerton, but it's okay. Is that what you're saying?
It's okay. Yeah, exactly.
I honestly feel like every time I watch an Apple TV Plus show, it's just a little piece missing. It's like it's so close. They clearly spend a lot of money. It's very high prestige, but there's just a little bit that keeps it from being top tier, the very, very best.
Yeah, I have to agree.
All right, well... That's kind of what I was prepared for.
But if you want to see great HDR, check it out.
Foundation. And that's Scott Wilkinson, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, see, Chernobyl, that's an example of something that I think reached a high level. There's something, and I can't put my finger on it. I don't know if it's writing. It's not acting. I mean, these are great actors.
Yeah.
I think... It's my theory that Apple puts its fingers in the gears, that they give notes and they tell the people, oh, yeah, don't do that. No. And so the creatives are kind of, I don't know, just hyper aware of Apple.
Well, I guess since they're footing the bill.
Yeah. I mean, that's why creatives loved HBO for years, not so much anymore, but in the glory days of HBO, like The Sopranos, because HBO really valued creatives and didn't tell them what to do.
Got out of their way.
They got out of their way. And I just feel like that's something Apple will learn, maybe. Maybe not.
Well, I hope.
They're like Disney. They need to protect their brand.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. So many people say that the Foundation trilogy was unfilmable. I don't think that's true. I think, and they could have stuck more to what Asimov wrote. I mean, I think
what's unfilmable? Dune.
and we're about to see that.
We're about to see how unfilmable that is.
How unfilmable that is. Beatmaster in the chat room lives in Switzerland, and it's actually out there now. He's seen it twice.
Does he like it?
Well, that's a good question.
Do you like it, Beatmaster? Is it good?
Did you like the movie? He saw it in IMAX and Dolby Cinema, and I asked him which of those two venues did he prefer.
Yeah.
And he said Dolby Cinema because the IMAX theater was having some problems.
Yeah. Technical
problems in the theater.
Yeah. It'll be better than David Lynch's Dune. I'm sure.
Yes. Which I said I hope it is because that one was terrible.
Yeah. Some people like it.
Yeah, I guess it became
John likes it.
Classic. I thought it was awful.
I think they like it because it's campy. It's like funny,
well,
over the top.
Yeah,
funny.
I guess. Yeah, so bad it's good. Kind
I
of
just
thing.
liked Dune as a novel so well. I don't think.
Oh, I did too.
My kind of general premise is science fiction is better on the page than it is on the screen. It's just your imagination does so much of a better job.
There's a lot to be said for that perspective.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. Now I love watching sci-fi on the screen as well, and there have been some great sci-fi movies. Did you see Arrival?
Yes, I like that.
That was a great sci-fi movie.
I like that a lot.
Really thoughtful. And
I like her
really
a
good.
lot. She's one of my favorite actors. So.
Yep.
Amy Adams.
Amy Adams, right. Exactly.
Yeah, I thought Arrival was interesting. It really wasn't sci-fi. Well, I guess it kind of was. I guess E.T.'s sci-fi, so Arrivals. I like Denis Villeneuve. He's a good director, rather. I like his movies.
Dr. Mom Grandma says that there was a lead character in book 2 was a woman, and that's true. Notice I said with one primary exception, if you'll recall.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't think it was Battalion's Durrell. I forget her name. Batia.
Welcome back,
B-A-T-Y-A.
Dr. Mom. Where you been? She's been gone for weeks.
Oh, no. I hope everything's okay.
I hope everything's okay. She might have been on vacation. She might have quite reasonably said, I've had enough of this. I'm going to have a life. Apple TV has a very high bit rate. That's interesting. So they really try to make it be high quality. I believe that.
And it is.
Yeah.
It is. Well, except again, and I don't think this is the bit rate. I think they didn't make, I don't know what happened to the mix.
Too many bright lights.
No, the audio mix. I'm having a really hard time understanding the dialogue.
Oh, yeah.
And I push the level of the center channel.
Stick around to the top.
Sure, happy.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 88. Ask Leo. Back to the phones. Ken on the line from Chicago, Illinois. Hello, Ken.
Hi, Leo. I have a question about Google Voice. And the reason I'm asking is because I'm with a volunteer agency that's trying to find me a volunteer site. And they recommend, since I prefer to work at home, that I use this, that I be making these calls to charitable, people qualified for charities to help them make appointments for various needs that they might have.
Yeah.
Which
nice.
I think is worthwhile. But,
absolutely. Good for you for doing that. That's great.
But the thing I'm concerned about is my privacy. And the director has recommended I use this Google Voice, which I've never used. And I value my privacy insofar as I don't want people to be calling me on my landline or my...
Well, that's the beauty of Google Voice. It isn't your line. It's whatever number you choose on Google Voice. In fact, I use Google Voice as the number I put on my business card, the number I give out, because I have much more control over it, and it's not my actual phone number. You can have it then ring another phone number. You can also hide caller ID with Google Voice. So privacy in terms of what people will find out about you?
No, I don't care about that as much as I do. I don't want my phone to be ringing off the hook.
It won't.
Hours, because
that's the whole point of it. Is that this is a separate phone number. Don't port your regular number over to Google Voice. You can't do that. Don't. Make sure that you just use whatever Google Voice. Is boss giving you his phone number?
No.
So you're going to create a new account.
I'm going to create a new account.
Okay. So the main thing is just make that take the number. You can choose a number in your area code or other area codes. You can choose. The other reason I use Google Voice is I chose a number that spells out something, makes it easier. Like our 8888 Ask Leo. It's just easier for people to remember. Okay. You are able to take an existing phone number and port it over as you would to any carrier. Don't do that because you want to keep it separate. I think Google Voice is actually a very good choice for this, for privacy. There is, people sometimes worry about Google. They're not listening in on calls. They can't. In fact, there is a Google Voice privacy statement, which is very short. It says your personal information might be shared with telephony providers as necessary to comply with laws and regulations because, of course, you're calling phone numbers. So they have, the phone company that you're calling has various requirements and there are various regulations, probably mostly having to do with spam, so they want to make sure you're you. We may be required to retain and preserve certain information, call history data, in order to, again, complying with law. I would say it's very similar, maybe even a little better than a cell carrier or a landline carrier in AT&T.
I see.
Yeah, I use it myself all the time. Here's the only real risk, if you ask me, with Google Voice is that Google's notorious for killing its best things. And it could very well be that in a month or two, Google Voice will go away. But, hey, it's free, and you'll just start over with a new phone number. They'll probably let you port the number out if they do that. I'm not saying they're going to do that. They've been doing this for a long time. I hope they don't. I really like Google Voice. So I think this is actually a very good idea. Now, there are other services that offer similar things. There's a service I use whenever I give out a phone number or an email address to a company that might use it to spam me, which is a lot of them. I'll use a service called MySudo. This is a paid service, MySudo. It's similar to Google Voice. You can put it on your cell phone, and it'll generate a number which you can call out from and give to other people, but it's not your number. I think it's similar. The nice thing about Google Voice is it's free. But if you want to look at something else, MySUDO is quite good, I think. MySUDO. It's an app. Yeah. And there's a free tier that actually probably do what you want it to do. And then if you want some more features, the ability to make multiple, what I do is I make a different number. I made a mistake once, a couple of years ago, sending in a postcard. Somebody sent me a postcard. Would you like solar panels? And I said, yeah. And I sent in the postcard. They never stopped calling me. Ever. I still get calls, even though I've told them, stop calling me. I got them from somebody else. I don't want to hear from you. They sold that number again and again. So from now, after that happened, from that point on, I never used my real phone number, my mail address, or anything, or real email. I use a MySudo account. And then that way, if I decide I'm tired of those phone calls, I delete the number. I never get it again.
Do you have any idea what that might cost?
It's not expensive. They're different tiers. You can also go to mysudo.com and see the pricing set up. If you didn't want to use Google, I think MySudo is a good choice. I think it's 99 cents. It's not expensive.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm not talking hundreds of dollars by any means. But, you're doing it for charity, so you don't want to spend money unnecessarily. But if you go to mysudo.com, you'll see the plans. There's a free tier, and then there's a 99 cent a month tier that gives you even more.
Okay, well, thanks, Leo. I'm a long-time listener. I'm a fan of your show.
Oh, I'm so glad you listened. Thanks, Ken. Really appreciate it. Take care, and thank you for doing that. That's nice. It's a good time. Here we are in quarantine still. Maybe put some of your unused energies, to work for nonprofit. I love that. David's on the line from Tulare, California. Hello, David.
Sorry about that.
Welcome.
Yes, Leo. I'm calling to see if you would recommend an operating system which would allow me to record a phone call, since it's legal in the United States to do that if you inform the Bank of America or a party that you're going to be doing that, and they have the opportunity to hang up on you. You know what I mean?
That's right. They say the same thing to you, don't they? For quality purposes, this phone call may be recorded.
All right, I've gotten $100 in bonus credit from Amazon just saying I'm recording their call and telling them that Bezos is wasting my time with this search engine, So
here's the deal. Every state has different laws. You're in California. I'm trying to remember. Some states are one-party consent, which means it really you can record it without telling anybody. California, I believe, is a two-party state. So you should check the local laws. Two-party consent states mean both sides of the conversation. 11 states are two-party states: California, Delaware, Florida, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, Montana, Nevada, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, and Washington State. In any of those states, you have to inform the party, before you record, I'm about to record this call. Do I have your permission? They say yes, and then you record. That's why Bank of America says that up front. If not, hang up. Other states, you don't have to tell them. And I think it's kind of strange to say, well, you mean only one side of that call needs to know it's being recorded? Yeah. And I think that those are really more anti-wiretap. Wiretap laws. So a third party can't record a call unless one of the two people knows. It's weird. It's odd. It seems like it should be two-party everywhere, that, both sides should be alerted that the call's being recorded. So you just need to know what the laws are. You're in California. It's a two-party state. Both sides need to agree, and then you can record it. We'll put a link in the show notes as to what's required and how it works. And yeah, I think you may find if you tell somebody we're recording. This is why I think it's funny. If you're involved in a lawsuit, or if you're worried about getting involved in a lawsuit, it's always better to do this stuff verbally in person. Not do it in email, not do it in writing, and probably not do it on a phone call, because, it could be held against you in a court of law, as they say. Now, call recording, I think almost anything will do that. Actually, iPhone, maybe not. They may have limitations on that. Certainly, Android will do it. 8888 Ask Leo. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We'll take a break. Come back. That's another good use for Google Voice. It does that. But you think you have to have a workspace account for Google Voice to record. That's my memory of that. All right, Scott, you have 8 minutes and 37 seconds. Woo-hoo. Enjoy.
Thank you. I just wanted to mention that I use Rev on my iPhone to record interviews.
Oh, you can? Okay, good. Does it record both sides?
Yeah.
Nice. REV?
REV, Rev.
Okay, good.
Yep. And it also offers a transcription service that's pretty good. You know, for some amount of money, you know, it'll transcribe the conversation.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super cool. So, yeah. Hi, everybody.
So this is nice. I'm setting up this new iPhone.
Oh,
and
yeah?
it's just stuck.
What do you mean stuck?
I'm pressing the continue button, but nothing's happening.
Oh, man.
So annoying.
This is Lisa's new phone?
Yeah. Apple really has some QC issues with, I don't want to go into it. I'm so sick of it. So sick of it. All yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Loquacious. I'm so happy to see you as always. You know, the one thing I didn't say in my segment there with Leo that I wish I had is I read an article, a review of the new foundation on Vulture. The author is Catherine Van Arendonk. And her title is perfect. Foundation is a very beautiful sci-fi screensaver. And she makes the point in the article that, you know, she actually enjoys watching Apple TV screensavers because they're very beautiful. And Foundation makes a gorgeous screensaver. She says in the piece, yeah, there are some people in there and some things happen, but it's not that important. I wouldn't say I wouldn't quite go that far, but yeah, the best thing I can say about it is it looks gorgeous, just beautiful. The what I want to say, the big ideas in Foundation, you know, they're sort of, it's almost like they're just sort of there, just sort of plastered on top of all the rest of this stuff that the creators just sort of added. And, oh, yeah, this is Foundation. We've got to say something about that. That's kind of how it felt to me. I'm going to watch the rest of it, mostly because it's so gorgeous. And we'll see what happens after 10 episodes. But I was not 100% impressed. I started out more impressed. By the end of the second episode, I was kind of, oh, man, they kind of messed this up, if you ask me. That's only if you ask me. And Beatmaster said, careful with spoilers. Yeah, no, I don't want to give any spoilers. Although Dr. Mom, Grandma, and I were talking about in the chat room about the books. And it's hard to give spoilers from the books because they've been out since the 50s. So if you haven't read them, yeah, okay, there could be some spoilers. But you've probably heard, you know, that it's the fall of the empire. And Selden, with his psychohistory, is trying to reduce the Dark Ages from 30,000 years to 1,000 years. So it's a very time-expansive story. Old Guy says, Foundation doesn't make compelling television. That's why I'm willing to put up with all the changes. Sex. There isn't much sex. There's a little bit, but certainly gender changes. Some violence, lots of diversity, more science fiction-y stuff. Yeah, they go into a lot of detail about the technology of this time, which is cool. I like that. I have no problem with that. So anyway, if any of you out there are headphone users and you really, really like headphones, which I do, I just wrote a review that I would love for you to go check out on techhive.com of it's a headphone amp with built-in streaming. And it's got Tidal, it's got Qobuz, which are my two go-to streaming sources, Spotify, a bunch of internet radio stations. It ain't cheap, almost $3,300. Gulp. And I listened to it on a really nice set of Focal headphones, but oh man, it just sounded great. Just beautiful. Main point being super clear. Super clear. I could hear deep into the mix, and yet the mix was a cohesive whole. So, you know, if you want to spend $3,300 on a headphone amp that actually doubles as a stereo preamp, and you have a nice pair of headphones to go with it, it's a headphone experience bar none. It's very, very good. Joe says, gender and diversity changes are fine with me since it's all fiction to begin with. Exactly. And none of the characters that they changed, their gender didn't matter. I mean, it was, it's only, Asimov only wrote it that way because he was writing in the 50s and he was operating under the same set of social mores that were prevalent at the time. So, yeah, changing those doesn't matter. Now, are they going to change the gender of Batya Darrell, one of the primary characters in the second book? I don't know. It'd probably be better to keep her the way she is, but hard to say. Beatmaster is asking what my current setup is. I do not have Dolby Atmos. I'm sorry to say. I didn't actually install speakers for Dolby Atmos. But I do have a Sony OLED TV, which is perfectly capable of HDR, Dolby Vision, and HDR10. I have a set of PSB surround speakers, 5.1. It's a small room, so I don't really need 7.1. I do regret not having installed Atmos, but I have a Denon receiver that does Atmos. I could do it. I just didn't take the time or trouble to do that.
Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to be talking tech, computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number, 888-827-5536, toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, well, you could still call. You just need to use Skype to do it. Skype ad will make a phone call. It should be free. Wouldn't even use any of your credits. 8888 Ask Leo. Website, techguylabs.com. All the things we talk about are there, and the chat room has always got lots of good information to add. For instance, our last caller looking for a way to record on Android. Google Voice, which you've been talking about, does that. Press 4. It makes an announcement. Everybody's aware of the recording, and the recording begins. If somebody doesn't want to be recorded at that point, they can just hang up. Scott Wilkinson said off the air he uses something called Rev on his iPhone when he's doing interviews. A lot of journalists do this. Record the conversation, then Rev will even transcribe it. So that's cool. I use something called Otter.ai on the iPhone. There's something, well, it does exactly the same thing. So there are a lot of choices out there to both record and transcribe on iOS or on Android. It may be that the actual call apps themselves don't have that feature built in, but there's always lots of ways to do it in the third party. Let's see. Who's next? Alok. Is that how you say it, Alok, in Irvine? Alok?
Yeah, that's right.
Alok. Hi, Alok. Welcome.
Yeah. Hi. So I want to thank you for taking my call. I've been a long-time listener, and life's been fine until now. So I took this opportunity to call you.
Great.
So
glad you did.
Galaxy S10 and running Android. So recently what started happening is that every time I open Maps or any other app that uses location, it loses my cellular data connection for a couple of moments, which is enough for Maps to say there's no data.
Oh, how annoying is that? So you're on a Galaxy S10. You say to Maps, okay, it wants, obviously it wants GPS. So you say, okay. Yeah. And it drops the cell It drops the data connection at that point. Does it work in Wi-Fi?
Yeah, Wi-Fi is fine.
It's your cell connection.
Yeah.
And what carrier are you on?
AT&T.
Huh. I've never heard of that happening. So it's different radios, obviously. There's a GPS. In fact, location data usually is done in 3 different ways on most cell phones. There's GPS, of course, which uses the satellites. There's Wi-Fi, so it's kind of reverse location. It triangulates the Wi-Fis it sees, and it allows the phone to do a pretty good job of location tracking. And then, of course, there's the cell towers. All 3 of those are used by Google Maps. I can't think of why all of a sudden you lose the cell connection unless, I know maybe what's happening. Maybe Maps is turning on Wi-Fi to do that Wi-Fi location, and your phone is set in such a way that if Wi-Fi is turned on, it switches over to Wi-Fi calling and turns off the cellular signal. So you might want to see if turning off Wi-Fi calling helps this problem. That's all I can think of. I mean, I don't know why it would. I mean, they're 2 different radios, and I don't think the S10 says you can only use one at a time. And as I said, most location services use all 3. The Wi-Fi, the cellular, and the GPS at the same time to get the best location. In fact, you'll see that sometimes if you're out and about and you turn off Wi-Fi because there's no Wi-Fi, it'll say, leave Wi-Fi on. It's better. We do a better job of locating you. And that's how they do.
Yeah, maybe I'll try that. And it's not just Maps. It's like Starbucks. So if you try to order something from Starbucks, it says, okay, fine, but there are no locations near you because there's no data, and I'm right in front of Starbucks.
So checking the other thing you can do, and I can't remember if the S10 allows this. I bet it does. Make sure that you've allowed cellular data for those apps. In order to save your cellular data, the iPhone does this. I'm trying to remember if the Galaxy S10 does it. You can say on an app-by-app basis, no, don't let this guy use cellular data because he'll just, download all sorts of stuff and I don't want to pay for it. So make sure your Starbucks app and your Maps app and so forth, cellular data is allowed. That'll be in the settings. That's something probably you've looked at. I'm trying to think of anything else. But maybe the chat room will come up with something or somebody will call and suggest it. So keep listening, Alok.
All right.
Hey, it's a pleasure meeting you. Thanks for calling.
Thank you.
Yeah, 8888, ask Leo if you've got an idea. Why, when he opens Maps or Starbucks, would it turn off his cellular data? And now because there's no Wi-Fi, he's getting no location information. Yeah, most of the time on a phone, you're using all 3 radios at the same time, GPS, cellular, and Wi-Fi, to get the most accurate possible location. GPS is very accurate, but it's not always available if you're you can't see the sky if you're inside. And so you'll see this all the time. And this the app that I'm thinking of, Pokemon Go. Which uses location data, will complain if you turn off Wi-Fi. But I'm outside. I'm not near Wi-Fi. No, they want it because they use it for location. Actually, Google got in a little bit of trouble for this. Google and Apple both sent out vehicles surveying Wi-Fi. So they drive around, and the radios in these vehicles would see Wi-Fi signals. It doesn't even have to be open Wi-Fi. You can see your signal. Even if you can't get on that Wi-Fi, you could see your signal and you could see the signal strength, and it varies. So as you drive away from it, it goes down. But it turns out there's so much Wi-Fi out there, at least in urban areas and populated areas, that you can use this to locate yourself. If Wi-Fi A is 15%, Wi-Fi B is 64%, and Wi-Fi C is 32%, you can triangulate the 3 and know exactly where you are. It's kind of cool. So Google and Apple and other, it was actually a third-party company, I think, called Skyhook that did this as well. Skyhook would drive these vehicles around, record this data, so they'd use the GPS in the vehicle and a radio receiver noticing the Wi-Fi and the Wi-Fi signal strengths, and they'd tie the 2 together. When you're at this GPS coordinate, then these 16 Wi-Fi signals are all this way. And so without GPS now, you can use Skyhook to do this. Apple used Skyhook for a while decided to do it themselves. Google, I think that's the same. Google got in a little bit of trouble when they did this because the cars that were doing this were also downloading bits of data, just accidentally, I don't think this was intentional, from those networks. They were if the network was not protected, not encrypted, this is why you want to turn on WPA encryption on your Wi-Fi network. If it wasn't encrypted, the data was going through the air unencrypted. And the Google cars were just storing snippets, 100, 200 characters of this as they drove along. It was an artifact. It was by accident. They didn't want the information, but it sure got them in trouble. Sure. Gave them a lot of heat. Oh, Google's collecting data from our Wi-Fi as they drive around. No. That's not what was happening. I'm not sure why. The reason I asked what carrier, you may remember for a while, CDMA carriers, Verizon and Sprint, this is years ago, if you were on a phone call, your cellular data went away. You couldn't do both. And that was not the phone's fault. That was the carrier's fault. But AT&T never had that problem. So I'm at a loss. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number if you have a question, a comment, a suggestion, or you can help Alok with his question if you know the answer. If this has happened to you, for instance. The Tech Guy Podcast brought to you this week by AT&T. If there are friends and family members you haven't talked to in a while, don't worry. It's never too late to reconnect. To help, AT&T is offering deals on the latest smartphones. It's not complicated. Everybody deserves something new. So AT&T is giving new and existing customers their best deals on every smartphone, even the latest ones. Restrictions and exceptions may apply. Visit att.com for details. Let's have some fun. 8888 Ask Leo. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Microsoft had a big event on Wednesday, announced new Surfaces, Surface Pro 8, Surface Go, Surface X. The thing that, there were two things that caught my eye. The Surface Studio laptop, which replaces the Surface Book, which is their high-end. It's a very fancy high-end laptop with kind of a neat hinge mechanism, no detachable screen, and the Surface Duo. Phones, of course, are the computers for the people. Everybody has phones these days, and a lot of times that's the only computer you need. The Surface Duo is a very interesting idea. It's like a book, 2 screens with a hinge, running Android. And then, in theory, this software is optimized to share the screen. So you could have an email program with a list of messages on the left screen and the message itself on the right. Or if you have the Kindle app, you could read a book by turning a page, and it would, be like a real book. Now, this is their second generation of the Duo. The first one, I bought it, returned it because the software didn't live up to the promise. Also, it didn't have a very good camera. Now they put good cameras, 3 of them in. They have NFC now, so you could touch to pay. They've got one of the screens goes over the edge so that when the Surface Duo is closed like a book, you still get a little notification bar on the hinge, which tells you if your phone's ringing or you've got messages, what time of day it is, that kind of thing. I like that. That's something that was missing from the old one. So, I ordered it. We'll see. I may return it again, but the real trick is going to get Microsoft has to update, modify Android and the software on it and the apps that are running on it to take advantage of those screens in a reasonable way. If they do that, it could be, it's very compelling. Compare that, say, to the Galaxy Fold, which has a folding screen, and the Galaxy Flip, which is a flip screen, folding screen. I think people are interested in the idea of having more screen real estate without having a bigger phone. So some big announcements from Microsoft. It's funny, I was talking with our Windows experts, Paul Thurrott and Mary Jo Foley. We do a Windows podcast, Windows Weekly, and they both said, and I kind of agreed with them, that when people ask for a recommendation for a Windows PC, I very rarely say, oh, you should get a Surface. They're good. There's nothing wrong with them. I guess I like Lenovo's and Dell's a little bit better. HP's a little bit better. They're comparable, maybe a little more expensive, maybe not. I think they're in the same ballpark. It's just I don't know. I don't know. You'd think that Microsoft, the people who make Windows, would make the best hardware for Windows, just as Apple really is the only company making Windows software for the Mac OS. But there's just I don't know. Something about it just doesn't wow me. I'm going to try this new phone though, because I am very interested in new ways of making a phone, something different than just a slab of glass. 8888 Ask Leo. We got Jim on the line from Glendale, California. He's next. Hi, Jim.
Hi, Leo. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I couldn't be better. I could be better, Leo.
Oh, no. What's the matter?
Here's the problem. I have a Sony Bravia, very, very expensive smart TV.
Nice TV, yes.
And I have a good router, and I have 100 megabit download from my provider.
Pretty good.
And Apple TV, and my TV streams everything, Netflix, all the stuff. I just got Apple TV, and Apple TV streams poorly. It stops. You have to go back. You have to hit OK. You got to start over.
So there's a couple of things going on. One thing is Apple TV is the high-priced quality leader. Somebody was just telling me in the chat room, they go as fast as 30 megabits per second. They're trying to get a lot of data in to give you the best possible picture. So maybe they're more demanding than your Roku or your smart TV or any other device you have. That's possibly problem number one. But also, Wi-Fi isn't ideal for this stuff. If you can wire it, whether it's a Roku, your smart TV, or your Apple TV, it's always going to be better. 100 megabits is plenty. But remember, with Wi-Fi, you're never getting all 100 megabits. A wired connection, you might get close to it. Wi-Fi, 60% is typical. So you don't have the bandwidth you think you have on Wi-Fi. Is the Wi-Fi router distant from the Apple TV?
Well, it's proximate. It's with about 15 feet, and it's
same room.
There's no, it's got a door between. I mean, there's no hard wall between it. There's a doorway.
Well, is the door closed?
No.
Wi-Fi works best with line of sight, but I ended up spending money and putting wires in the wall for my TV because wired is always going to be better. If you can do that, even this would be a good experiment. You're not going to leave it there forever, but take a long Ethernet cable, take it from your router and put it in the Apple TV. See if that improves things.
Okay.
Because that could, in fact, it should make a big difference. I ended up wiring it all because also even for desktop, when you're doing Zoom calls, as we do a lot these days, when kids are studying at home, wired is always going to give you a more reliable connection than Wi-Fi. So that's something I'd look at. So, what router are you using right now?
Oh, Leo, I knew you'd ask.
Is it old?
I don't know.
Is it old?
Well, it's most likely a year or two old.
Okay. So that's the other thing I've been told by people who are using the new Wi-Fi 6, which is the new Wi-Fi, that it doesn't have some of the problems that older Wi-Fi did. Wi-Fi is a collision-based networking system. So if there's other Wi-Fi traffic in the area on the same channel, the device will go, oh, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt, and stop. Wait for a random amount of time and then start over again. And those stops and starts aren't great for streaming, for phone calls, for Skype, for Zoom, that kind of thing, because it's basically lost. You don't have time to make it up. So that's why, again, wired is better. Wi-Fi 6 is apparently better than Wi-Fi 5 was. So, but I don't remember if the Apple TVs are Wi-Fi 6. Is it a new Apple TV, the 4K?
I think, you know what? Well, it's a Sony TV. It's not an Apple TV.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I thought you were using an Apple TV, and that was the problem.
No.
Oh, you're talking about the software in the Bravia.
Yes.
Ah, I'm sorry. I misunderstood. This is Apple's fault because they call their hardware device Apple TV, and they call their software Apple TV Plus, so it's very confusing.
Right. I subscribe to Apple TV Plus with my Sony.
My experience has been with Apple TV, Apple does not put the energy into the software on platforms that aren't made by Apple. They do it, but they're not happy about it, and I think it's a poor experience, even on Roku. For best experience with Apple TV Plus, get an Apple TV. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I didn't realize you were playing it off the TV. That's going to be the problem right there. And it's really Apple's fault for not writing a great app. Hey, Johnny Jet.
Hey, Leo, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great, thank you.
How's your dad?
He actually just called me and said he sounded like his old self. He's like, I'm so happy we moved him to a new rehab. We got him out of the nuns.
Get him away from the nuns. They don't like cochlear implants, apparently.
Yeah, so he's now at a different place, and he just said, I just got back from an exercise class. And I was like, really? He said he liked the food. I was like, wow, things are really looking up.
He's been everywhere. He's a traveling man. He's dressed all in black. It's Johnny Jet. No, he's not. He's wearing his Aloha shirt. Johnny Jet, our traveling guys here. JohnnyJet.com helps you travel better with technology. Hey, Johnny.
Hello, Leo.
How are you?
Good. Just got back from the desert. We spent 4 nights. We rented a house via VRBO. They helped us with that, by the way.
I like VRBO. I like that idea. I have a friend who does that. That's the, what is it? Something rental by owner. Vacation rental by owner is what it stands for, right?
Well, they actually they now go by Verbo, which I have a difficult time saying, or getting used to. But we stayed at their Anthony Bourdain no reservations house.
Oh, wow.
So I had a huge
Why do they call it that?
Of Tony and so it was a no-brainer. We had a pool. The kids loved it. It did pour. I saw someone in the chat room ask me. It poured yesterday for like 15 minutes, and the streets literally had over a foot of water. I was at the grocery store, and it was hailing. It was insane.
You were in the Palm Desert.
We were in Palm Springs, in the desert.
Yeah.
But we also went to Joshua Tree for my first time.
Always wanted to go there.
It's only 40 minutes from Palm Springs, and my friend who lives in Palm Springs says, make sure you stop off in Pioneer Town, which I never even heard of. Have you?
No.
So Google Pioneer Town. It looks like a ghost town from the old Wild West, and it turns out in 1946, a lot of people were like Gene Autry, Roy Rogers.
They made movies there.
They made so many TV shows and movies, and there literally was 4 people in the town. In this, and you can't. There's no cars. You have to park in the street or in the parking lots, and it's all sand. And it felt like.
Do they have gunfights in the streets?
I'm sorry.
Did they have gunfights in the streets?
Yeah, I think they did.
Do they stage things and do things, or is it just a ghost town?
You know what? I'm not sure. I think because of COVID.
They don't do anything.
And we were there on a Friday. Literally, we were there at.
Oh, it's so cool looking.
It really is.
I'm looking at Main Street, spelled M-A-N-E, like horse's mane.
Exactly.
The saloon, the bank, the bathhouse, the livery stables. That's really cool.
It was a great little side trip.
I bet the little Jack loved it. Does he like cowboys?
Yes.
That's fun.
Actually, I'm not sure if he does cowboys and stuff like I used to when I was a kid. But
yeah, that was big when we were kids. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a little different now.
Yeah.
But the big news this week in travel is that the U.S. said they're going to open the borders finally to fully vaccinated travelers from the EU, China, I think Brazil. There's a bunch of countries in there in early November. I mean, it's taken a long time. And for Americans who are not vaccinated, it's going to be a lot more difficult to get back into the country. You're going to have to do much more rigorous testing.
We don't want you back. Stay there.
So they're trying to toughen it up. Wow. But they still haven't opened up the land border between Canada and the U.S. in terms of driving across. And same with Mexico. And I'm pretty sure it's political because if they open up the northern border, they have to open up the southern border, and they don't want to open up the southern border.
So we're flying to Mexico at the end of the month in October.
Not a problem.
No problem. It's just we couldn't drive there.
Exactly.
Oh, that's weird. Huh.
And same thing with Canada. You can go to Canada now you can fly in, and the Canadians can come here as long as both are fully vaccinated.
Okay. Yeah, I think we have to get tested to get back in the U.S.
You do. Everyone has to be tested 3 days prior, regardless of your vaccination status or if you're American or not. But come early November, they are going to change it for the unvaccinated. You're going to have to do another test. You have to do a test 24 hours before you get on the plane, and then another test when you arrive.
Wow.
I think a couple days later, and they're going to do some contact tracing. So, although they say they're going to do contact tracing, I highly doubt they will. Unfortunately, they just don't have the manpower.
We had the TWiT cruise. I want to make this clear. To Canada is July of next year, and that's still on. Cruise.twit.tv. So that's on. But the cruise that Lisa and I were going to go on in January to Asia was just canceled. Silver Sea said, "Yeah, we can't because we can't get into Hong Kong. They're not letting anybody in."
Not just Hong Kong. There's a lot of countries. Asia. Actually, I just posted in my newsletter today. There was a story from CN Traveler about what's open and what's not in Asia, and most of it is not.
So we're
the only one that's really wide open is the Maldives, which have been open for a long time.
They're giving us a discount if we book another one, but we're just going to, instead of trying to get into Asia again, because this is the second cruise that's been canceled to Asia, January of this year and January of next year, we're going to just go to Europe. It's safer, right? And it'll be in 2023. By then,
2023, I actually would go for the Asia one because
you think it'll be all right.
Mediterranean.
Lisa's had it. I had to talk her into this. She said, "We're not booking anything else until this whole thing is over."
Book both. You said you're going to do a shorter cruise. Save some money. Try and book both.
Oh.
And that's what I was talking about a couple weeks ago. It's called trip stacking, which people are doing now. They're doing a more aggressive trip, planning one, and then they have a backup. So usually that involves, international trip as your number one choice. If it's looking a little sketchy, then you have a backup.
My backup might be Palm Springs.
Hey, it's a great choice, but I do recommend if you are booking international travel to do it on a U.S. airline because of this one reason. Because if you decide it's too risky or they shut it down, at least you'll get a credit on a U.S. airline so you can then fly domestically.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
So keep that in mind.
Yeah.
And one of the hot spots that everyone wants to go to is Hawaii, which they've actually asked people not to go to for a little bit. But people are still planning, and my app this week is for traveling around Hawaii. I don't know if you downloaded it while you were there, called Holo Holo.
Holo Holo? Hold on, what's that?
It's like Uber, but it's Hawaiian. It's run by the same guy who created Speedy Shuttle in Hawaii, and it's on most of the major islands.
Is that the same as the Wiki Wiki?
No, the Wiki Wiki is different. The Wiki Wiki is a little shuttle bus or a little tram between the terminals.
Yeah. I like the name, though.
I love the name. And also there's a Wiki Wiki Highway, which I love.
Yeah.
I believe it's a Wiki Wiki Highway. So the Holo Holo this week, they're the first supposedly rideshare company where the drivers can upload their vaccination status.
Ah, nice.
So you can choose a vaccinated driver, which I obviously would prefer. And I think most people would.
There seems to be a kind of strong anti-vax movement in Hawaii.
Oh, definitely. I mean,
I guess everywhere.
I think it's 80% have been vaccinated.
That's good. That's a good number.
Oh, it's high.
I mean, that's better than the U.S. at large.
And Hawaii wants you there. They just don't want you right now. So don't, I was telling people to postpone your trip. Don't cancel your trip.
It's a mixed bag, too. I mean, the governor says don't come. But I think you go in a restaurant or a store, they're pretty happy to have you there. The hotel says thank you.
Of course, without a doubt, they want, tourism, they want your money.
Right.
The locals who are not involved in tourism don't want you there because they don't want the traffic. They don't want the germs.
I was talking to a friend in Oahu. It was so nice. In the beginning of the quarantine, you could go anywhere and there was no one there. It was quiet. The Hawaiians got their island back. And
exactly.
I think they have mixed feelings. On the one hand, that's, big part of the economy. On the other hand, it was kind of nice.
Listen, I can't blame them. It was like paradise.
She was telling me you could bicycle down Waikiki's main drag. There was no traffic. You just bicycle down. There'd be nobody there. It was quiet. I bet it's nice.
I mean, it makes a huge difference for locals.
Yeah, I love Hawaii. I miss Hawaii.
I do too. But you're going to Mexico, you won't have any problem going there.
Can't wait. Going there for Day of the Dead to Oaxaca, where it's the apparently the place to go for the Day of the Dead.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then the other big news this week is that on Thursday, Delta Airlines has said they banned more than 1,600 unruly passengers, and they're now recommending that all airlines share their databases, which I talked about 2 weeks ago.
There's something weird going on in the world. People are just We've had it, haven't we? We're done. We're through. This is too much. JohnnyJet.com. Follow him. Subscribe to his free newsletters. He's great. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. People are going off. They're going off the deep end.
Well, I wrote a comment. I wrote a post about, and I'll share it, about how, they need to have stricter forms or penalties because, doubling the fines is not going to do it. If you ban someone from flying not only that airline, but all airlines, I guarantee you they'll start behaving because they want to either get to their destination or they want to get home without taking the train, the bus, a ship, or a private jet.
It's crazy. Why are people... What is going on?
Someone just wrote a comment on that post saying that, here in Mexico, we don't have that problem. Everyone treats everyone much better. In the U.S., it's completely opposite. And unfortunately, I think it's political. I really do believe it's become political.
Yeah.
And my dad keeps calling me.
Okay, go get your dad. I am so glad to talk to you. Yeah, talk to him. Thank you, Johnny. Yes. When Dad wants you, Dad gets you. Yeah, long haul COVID, scary. I still don't want to get it. I'm taking care of myself, staying away from people. Oh yeah, thank you, Mike. I got 2 of them. Problem is, I don't like to start an ad when I don't know if I'll have enough time to finish it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know where I'm going with that? Yeah, it turns out, Joe, I'll probably for the rest of my life stay away from people, wear a mask. They'll know, oh yeah, he was, it's like, I remember the people who survived the Depression were forever, scarred by it. I think that people are going to look at me and go, oh yeah, he was Generation C, clearly. He's still walking around in a mask. I don't shake hands, no. Yeah. And you know what? It's fine. I'm used to it now. I got used to masks. I feel naked without them. Look at Kim. She never takes hers off. She just sits there wearing her mask all the time. No, don't put it back on. What are you doing? What are you doing? Put it over the nose. You know what I hate? You see people all the time walking around with their mask below the nose, like that. It's covering their mouth.
This bugs me when I'm in a restaurant.
Bugs the hell out of me.
Or a store.
I haven't said anything yet. I don't want to get punched in the nostril, but put it up over the nose, please. Protect me from you. Thank you, Johnny. Holo. Oh, I see it all the time. Who was it? Was it Gruden, the Raiders coach?
Oh, yeah.
He got fined. Yeah. He was just wearing it like...
I think the 49er coach got fined, too, though.
Well, wear your damn mask. See, this mask you can't wear below the nose. This is an N95. And there's no way, if you wore it, it wouldn't be comfortable. It'd be like, why would you wear it like, couldn't wear it like that? It's a good mask. See, but I wear this because that way if somebody's got the mask over their nose, below their nose, I'm still safe. I am sealed. I am breathing my own air. And by the way, you can still hear me. I could wear this. I could do this show with this on. Here, let's see if anybody notices. We got Brother Damien, our musical director this week. Laura's doing an iHeart radio thing. And thank you, Damien, my friend. Big Pee-wee on the board. Ron is on the line from Redondo Beach, California. Hey, Ron.
Hey, how you doing, Leo?
I'm well. How are you?
So far, things are pretty good. So I've got a good question for you. Actually, it's good timing that you had I'm visiting my mom. She's in an assisted care place.
Okay.
And before, both parents were living here, and my dad was pretty good on the internet using the iPad, and that's his communication to the outside world.
Nice.
But he would handle everything, with keyboards and phones and everything else like that. Well, unfortunately, we lost my dad about a month ago.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Thank you. But and so now that leaves a question of
poor mom doesn't have anybody to help her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so and I'm just I've started thinking about this, and I'm betting there's hundreds of thousands, not millions of people that are in the same boat.
My wife says I can't die because she doesn't know how to turn on the TV without me.
Exactly.
There's 6 remotes. Exactly. It's not obvious. I actually I wrote a manual with pictures so that she'd know how to do it. But she still says it's easier if I do it. So I don't know. That's an interesting question. How do you help your mom? Does she like computers? Does she like the iPad at all?
No, and see, that's the problem, is that she's not able to handle a keyboard.
Yeah.
Or a pad, or the phone pad. So all of a sudden, communication is like down to 0, and which is scary. Now, I've done a little bit of research. I found something called the Grand Pad, and I don't know if you've ever seen that or heard of that.
No, I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, but what it does is that what they say is it's kind of like the size of an Alexa Echo type of thing.
Yeah.
But you can program certain names and numbers on there.
Oh, with big buttons. Yeah. So is it that the buttons or the keyboards are too small? She can use her fingers, but they're just too small?
She's not going to be able to dial.
Yeah.
Certainly
it's possible to kind of duplicate what they've done with. I'm looking at the GrandPad webpage. It's great. There's a couple of devices like this. In fact, is she on Facebook? Is the family on Facebook?
The family is, but she is not.
But you could set up a Facebook account. So the Facebook makes something called a portal. You should look at it. They just came out with an updated version of the portal. It's like it looks just like an Echo Show. It's got a speaker. The new one has a battery, so you can lift it off the charger and then listen to the music. But because the portal isn't a phone or a tablet, it's just basically an interface to Facebook Messenger, Zoom, Skype, things like that. Big buttons on the screen with the name of the family.
Right.
Pictures. One of the things I think is really great to do is a photo album. You control what's in the album, but she sees the pictures and they rotate through. I think that's a really nice thing to do. It also is a great way to keep her kind of in the world. She sees the grandkids, she sees you, she sees her her husband, her late husband, and it kind of keeps her in the world. So pictures are a really great way to do that. The GrandPad seems okay. I'm not familiar with it. Let me see how much it is. Oh, you have to pay a monthly fee.
Yeah, a monthly fee on that. And it says it's not internet-based, which I found kind of fascinating.
Well, it uses 4G. It uses... so that's the other thing is I don't know, in the assisted living place, does it have Wi-Fi?
We've got her hotbox.
Okay, good. So that's basically what the GrandPad does as well. It has a cellular connection. But that's reasonable because there are a lot of places where you can't put in Wi-Fi or there isn't Wi-Fi and you don't want them to have to. But it's, $58 a month.
Right.
$696 a year. That's an awful lot of money.
It seems like it, yes. But when you really think about it, there is, as far as expenses go, there's no other expenses, and this is connecting to the outside world. So,
right. So compare it to the portal, which would be a one-time cost of a few $100s. There's no monthly fee. See if it does something similar. I'm trying to think of other things like this. I'll tell you, a lot of seniors are very happy with the Amazon Echo because you can speak it. Okay.
Yeah, we have the Echo, but even that is difficult. When you get, she's 93. They both were.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the voice is very, very.
It's hard. You can't hear very well. It's hard to use. I understand.
Yeah.
I
If there's anything with or swiping or pushing Like I say, that just probably is not going to work. And so that's where the difficulty comes in there. There's a market out there for somebody to make some gazillion dollars with this aging population.
I agree. And this GrandPad is one idea behind it. I mean, it bugs me a little bit because it's a $100 tablet, right. And they've just put some software on it. They're not really doing much. Yeah. I guess the 4G is included in the $79 a month, which is fine. For convenience, and if you don't mind spending the money, I guess this looks like a good solution. I'm not familiar with it. Maybe somebody who has used it for an older parent would call and let us know how it worked for them.
I might go ahead and try that, and then I can give you a call back. And
yeah, that would be great. What's their return policy? Is it pretty good?
I think you can do a 1-month trial.
Okay, then I would do that. If you can do a 1-month trial, because the other problem is you don't know how mom's going to take to it. She may love it, and she may say,
Yeah, and that has happened with other things.
Yeah, like the Echo. Yeah. I wish it did. It doesn't look like it does this. I wish it did a photo album, because that's so nice. I mean, you could also get an inexpensive Google Nest Hub or Echo Show, one of the Nests or the Googles or Echoes with a screen, and just put a slideshow up there. I think that's a really nice thing to do. Does she have a TV in her room?
Yes.
That would be another thing you could do, and even less expensively get a Google Chromecast, because you can have a slideshow on that. Plug it into the TV. And I just think that I love it. I have my Google Nest Hub, and I put all my pictures in it. Thousands of pictures over the last 20 years. This is a wonderful way to kind of connect with family and memories and go, oh yeah. And I don't know how she feels about that, but for me, it's really quite heartwarming. So that's another thing to consider. Let me know what you think of this GrandPad. I mean, it looks okay. The cost is the only thing that makes me choke, but otherwise, it's a custom interface. They have good support. The support is for you, though. She's not going to call them.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But the nice part is, like I say, this will be her only connection to the outside world.
Well, and the nice thing is she can make Zoom calls. She can make multi-party Zoom calls with it, so you can have the whole family on there. She'll love that.
Yes,
she'll love that. Yeah, it's got email as well. She probably won't use that. I think it's going to be for the phone, for the video phone calls. Yeah.
Yeah, she won't do that. But I've got siblings, and 3 of them are out of state. So
if you were so inclined, you could get an inexpensive $329 iPad, customize it so that there's buttons on the front. Get rid of all the icons except the buttons on the front. You could get an Android tablet and do that. But they've done it all for you. So,
right.
Yeah, let me know. If you get it, Ron, let me know. I mean, I think with a 1-month return policy, it's worth a try for sure.
Yeah, definitely on that. So, all right, sounds great.
Thanks for letting me know. I appreciate it. All right. Sorry about your dad. But 93 sounds like he had a good long life. It's hard. I feel so bad for the spouse, though, because she spent her whole life with him, right? It's so hard. So whatever you can do to make it better for her is probably well worth it. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I guess I forgot to take my mask off. There's no one in the room. I don't know why I'm wearing it. Oh, because of Kim. You inspire me. You're inspiring me, Kim. I want to look like you. Hey, put it up. Hey, put it back. Put it back. Put it back.
You weren't wearing that when you were talking, were you?
The whole time. I was just curious. You couldn't tell. Yeah.
I wasn't looking at you, so I didn't even realize.
You couldn't. There was the slightest attenuation.
Some of them are really muffled.
Happens to me all the time. I was at Lowe's Hardware yesterday. I couldn't understand.
I can't understand. Like this. Nobody can understand me, and I can't understand anybody. But
don't wear it over your ears. I heard that. See, I have good hearing.
No, I think I can't hear muffled tones.
Muffled tones. Yeah, of course, Lowe's, there was like loud noises going on and all sorts of stuff. So.
Well, and also in stores, a lot of times they've got a shield in front of them too.
Yeah.
So between the shield and
I'm over here.
I can't hear anything.
I'm over here. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers and the internet and smartphones and iPads and smartwatches and musical devices for grandma and whatever else is on your mind. If it's got a chip in it, I can talk about it. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, well, you can still call, but you have to use Skype or something like that. It shouldn't cost you anything, though. Still a toll-free number. 888-827-5536. Website, techguylabs.com. I mentioned that so that you can go there if you choose and get the show notes. Everything I talk about, all the links. There's even audio and video from the shows after the fact. It's free, no sign-up. We don't want your email address, nothing. techguylabs.com. I am going to pronounce this Homosassa, Florida. Is that right, Gloria? Homosassa?
Very good.
Ah, I never heard of Homosassa. Where is Homosassa?
It's near Crystal River.
Okay, just up the road a piece.
Yes.
How are you, Gloria?
Very good.
Good.
Maybe.
Oh, no. What's the matter?
Okay. For years, I've had an email account. I've never used a password. I go to my email, I flip the phone, how you push it down, and it updates it.
Yeah.
And then I read and do whatever I have to do.
Because it was, at one point, a long time ago, you logged in with a password. But once you do that, it doesn't ask for it ever again.
I don't ever recall doing that. But then it's been years.
Yeah, you did. Because they have to. Otherwise, anybody could get your email. That'd be no good.
I don't care. Okay. All of a sudden, on the 21st, that's the last time they'll let me have email.
Oh, you are on AOL, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, we get this call. We've been getting this call every week because of the transition.
Oh, gee.
Oh, man. So you don't remember your email, your password?
Of course not.
Of course not.
Years. I've never used it.
Yeah, you did at one point, but that's the nice thing. How long have you had that phone?
This phone I've had about 3 years.
Yeah.
But
well, of course, sometimes phones, when you already have a phone set up, you put your new phone next to it and it gets all the passwords. So it might have been a long time since you've entered it. But you did at one point.
Well, I opened it up longer than 3 years ago because I used to go to the library with my tablet to go to my email.
Yeah.
So I got a smartphone.
You've got mail. So you can go to AOL.com and enter in your username, your email address, right? You know that, right? Gloria at AOL.com or whatever it is. Miss Homosassa 1992 at AOL.com, whatever it is. And then say, I forgot when it asks you for the password.
Okay, I got to somebody, but it wasn't a real person.
No, do it online. Do it on the website.
I did go online, and they said they're going to send me a notice in my email.
Yeah, but you can't get your email.
I know, exactly.
So do it. You can. Do you have a computer or a tablet with a browser?
No, we don't have that kind of stuff. We don't have that.
We don't have those things. But you have a phone. Does a phone? The phone has a. Yeah, this phone has a browser. So go to the. Are you on an iPhone or an Android phone?
Android.
Okay, so go to Chrome, the browser on there, and go to AOL.com. Enter in your email address. You do know that, I'm sure.
Yes.
Press the next button and then say, I forgot my password. And then it will...
Words?
Huh?
In those words?
You don't have to say anything. There's a button. It'll be just a button that says forgot or something like that. And then if you forgot your password, there will be ways to recover it, depending on how you set it up. Sometimes they'll send you a text message if they know your phone number. You can't get the email because it stopped on the 21st, huh?
Correct.
Yeah. But see, if you can't get in your email, Sending it to your email isn't really much of a solution. That's what they were going to do. Yeah.
I call the company that I have the service with, and they have a call station, I guess, in India. It was hard to understand them, but they said that what I have to do is open up a new account.
Oh, thanks a lot.
And no, I can't do that. I said,
you must open up a new account. I am sorry. So here's the deal. I'm going to put a link in the show notes. It's not going to be much help to you, but if you ever go to the show notes, you'll see the link. I'm looking at a page from AOL that says, let's get you into your account. Now, here's the problem. When you set up the email, they may or may not have asked you. I hope they asked you for a recovery phone number, like your cell phone number, or a recovery email address, not an AOL address. Most email systems will do that for this very reason. Obviously, if you don't have access to your email, it's no good to send you a new password through your email. So they're going to need to either text it to you or via your phone number or email it to you at a different email account. Now, here's the problem. Who knows, long ago, you may not have set that up. And if you didn't, then the guy was right. There's nothing you can do about it because...
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, because there's no way for you to recover the account. Was the account with AOL or was it through an internet service provider like Verizon? How did you get that?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think you're out of luck. So
it was with my old tablet. As a matter of fact, my old tablet, I can't even update it anymore because it's too old. They won't update it.
Oh man. Yeah, they sent you an email 6 months ago saying we're gonna leave AOL behind. A lot of people, this has been happening to a lot of people. And the problem is people set up this email account 15 years ago. Nobody remembers their password or anything. And when you set it up in those days, probably it didn't ask you for a recovery phone number or an alternate email address. So you probably don't have that set up. It's a good lesson, though, for right now, for everybody listening. If you have an email account, make sure, whether it's Gmail or Yahoo or AOL, you go in there and you give them either a recovery email address, which should be an alternate email address, maybe your work address, or you set up a Gmail account just for that, or better yet, a phone number, your cell phone number, because they'll send you a text. They'll say, oh, yeah, hi, Gloria. Oh, yeah, well, let's send you a text. They send you a text with a 6-digit number. You enter that in, and they go, okay, what do you want your new password to be? And this time you should remember it.
Yeah, I'll put it in the phone.
Put it in the phone, yeah.
I have a Gmail account. I don't use it, but it's
no, that's perfect. So that could have been the recovery address because you can still get into that, but you had to have set it up with AOL.
All right.
And I'm sorry that because AOL is a shadow of its former self. So you don't remember how you got this account? Did you set it up with AOL?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I had a tablet at the time. I didn't have a phone to set it up with. I had set it up with the tablet that I had.
Yeah. So if you set it up with AOL, then I think calling AOL, I mean, obviously the guy didn't even want to deal with it. He lost it. It's gone. Just set up something else. Don't do AOL anymore. They're on, they're slowly dwindling away to nothing. Gmail's fine. You know what? You could just start using that Gmail account and tell all your friends, hey, don't send anything to that AOL account because it's gone.
I'll have to learn how to access Gmail now. I mean, it's there, but I've never used it.
Yeah. Do you remember, just out of curiosity, do you remember setting up a password for your Gmail account?
No.
We're going to get you a password manager or some way. I was in Target the other day and they had a whole row of notebooks. One of them said passwords on the front. I thought that's not the most secure thing, but even that, having a notebook that you wrote your passwords in would be better than nothing because nobody remembers these. Nobody remembers these. Do you have a password that you kind of use all the time?
Yes.
You tried that?
I tried that. That's not it. And that's 8 digits. What they have there on file, I think is 9. I kept searching online trying to find it. I found where they showed the dots, but I can't see what the dots represent.
Right. That's why they do the dots, which drives me crazy because nobody's looking over my shoulder. I want to see the password. They do dots in case somebody's looking over your shoulder. What is this, a massive problem if people are getting snooping around? No, I want, let me see it. And usually, sometimes they don't show you. Apple's notorious for this. Nope, can't see what's underneath the dots. Nope. But sometimes there's a little eyeball there or something like that shows the password. Says, all right, I want to see the password. I've checked. There's nobody behind me. Can I see the password now? It drives me nuts. I'm really sorry, Gloria, but I think you should start over and just tell everybody you know. Don't send me email. I can't access that anymore.
All right, Leo.
I'm sorry.
You were my last hope.
Oh, I can't fix it for you. You can, again, go to AOL.com, in Chrome and try to log in, say I forgot, and see if you did set up, you forgot your password, you may have forgotten that you set up a recovery phone number or a recovery email. You might have actually done that.
I've been trying since the 21st to try to get them, and they keep saying try again later.
Yeah.
Yeah, when is later? 10 years from now?
How much do you pay for that AOL mail?
Nothing.
There's the answer to your question.
Why, Gmail you have to pay for?
No, it's free too, but don't expect support for something you don't pay for. They're not going to, if they're not making any money on you, they're not going to set up a whole call center with a bunch of nice people to help you. Who's going to pay for that?
I don't know, people who do ads.
Yeah, maybe they just don't have enough ads. I don't know. Yeah, Gmail, that's basically free service. I think people should treat email with a little more respect. The free emails, there's no support for you. People get in this situation all the time. Email's important to you. Probably be a good idea to get a, paid service or just somebody, who's going to give you some support. AOL's not going to give you any support. AOL's just, they don't care. What are you going to do? Stop paying us? Oh, you're not paying us anyway. I'm so sorry. They just, I think Gloria, and try, go to AOL.com, try to log in, say there's a button that says forgot your password. You press that. They do a whole recovery thing. See if maybe you forgot your password. Maybe you forgot you gave them a phone number. Maybe you did. It's possible. Stranger things have happened in this world. And folks, just the bottom line moral of this story is make sure you have a recovery email set up or a recovery phone number set up. You got to do that because, treat this stuff. It's important to you. You got to treat it with some respect. You don't want to lose it. And honestly, this is why I pay. And it's not cheap. I pay $50, $60 a year for my email with a company called Fastmail because there's somebody there to help me. And I make sure I, use a password manager, keep track of my passwords, all that stuff, because I don't want to lose it. Our show today, I'm sorry, Gloria. I wish I could be more help. I can't. I'd like to be better than that guy, but I can't. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I have some old AOL floppy disks. Maybe you could... No, that probably won't help. I can always tell when Big Pee Wee's in the house playing the good music. Love that. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888, ask Leo the phone number. Jeff's on the line from Pasadena. Hello, Jeff.
Hey, Leo, how are you today?
I'm well. How are you?
Well, I got a real mess on my hands.
Oh, boy.
Okay. So I'm calling you for a last resort, and I think I might know what I have to do, but I want some advice.
Okay.
So I have a GoDaddy account that I had some domains saved in, and a guy that I'd known for a long time who was pretty techie said, hey, I'll do your website. Let's combine all these, because he had a bunch of domains. So they were all combined, and, every once in a while, GoDaddy, they kept calling me wanting to know about different things, DNS stuff that I didn't know. So I kept saying, call this guy. So I made him the main guy.
Administrative contact, yes.
Exactly. He was the administrative contact. I no longer have contact with this individual.
He has absconded with your domain names.
And my website with the hosting stuff.
Of course he has.
The weird thing is, of course, GoDaddy still has my my email, and they send me emails saying, "Hey, this domain is up for renewal."
Yeah. But you don't have the password to log in. Did he put it under his account?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I got my customer number, but when I even call them up, because if you go on the website, it says, well, if you forget your password, just click here, put in your email address. But I never receive anything. So when I called them, they said, well, we're sending it to blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I said, well, that's this guy, and he's... So
the reason it's going to be hard to get this recovered is because there is a fairly brisk business in domain hijacking. So any domain registrar is going to be very cautious about transferring it. You know, you can tell them the whole sob story, but they're not going to know. And unless they have some proof, they're going to assume that he owns it.
They have something called change update, where you send them a photo ID of you. If it's a business domain, which it is, you send them like an actual business thing.
You can reclaim it. Yeah.
And they still said, sorry, you're not the registrar. I'm like, well, then how come you guys email me stuff with my name, my email address, and I just sent
they have that email on record, but yeah, I think you're out of luck. You let him steal it, basically.
Yeah, I did. And
in this case, because there is a problem with people stealing domain names, they make it very hard to get it back, which is, unfortunately, it's hurting you, not him. All I can say is you keep calling them and throw yourself on their mercy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. It's I don't, unless they kind of give in, I don't know how you can convince them. I would just keep trying. You might get what you want is, you hope is you get somebody sympathetic.
Yeah. So I already went to a different hosting company and registered another domain, and in the event that I'm going to have to rebuild the website.
Yeah, you might.
Under a different domain.
Now you can scrape the website as long as it's still online. It's publicly online. You can scrape. Yeah, you can scrape it and get all the content off of it, just because it's all there. If somebody visits your website, they get it all. You won't get anything behind the scenes. But you can get all the content, all the images, all the text, all of that stuff fairly easily.
What do you mean scrape it? Like, how do I get the pictures off of it? Just like right click on something, or just start?
You could do it that way, but there are actually tools that will do this. So there's programs that will take a website and download it for offline use.
Oh.
And you won't get some of the stuff you might want if there's code running the website, like a database and stuff. You might not get that, but
it's just a simple WordPress site.
Then you should be able to get it all.
Not elaborate.
Yeah. So you're on Windows or Mac?
I'm on a Mac.
Okay. So you just want to look for a website downloader for offline use on a Mac. I've used a few. Let me just see. Site Sucker's the one I've used in the past. Site Sucker. I mean, it's a good name. But there's Site Fetcher is on the Mac App Store. So what you do is it's basically a browser that you'll point to the site, but instead of just displaying it, it'll download everything into folders on your desktop. That'll make it very easy to recreate your site. You'll have all the content, basically.
Oh, cool. So then if somebody goes, if people go to my old site and let's say this thing, eventually it's going to go down because he's going to stop paying for my site to be hosted.
Well, do you think he was malicious? What happened? Do you think he stole it or just incompetent?
Legal trouble. No, he got legal trouble and all his accounts got seized. And so I don't think there's any way for him to, this guy's probably going to jail.
So the government has it.
The government has, that's his stuff. My site's still up and running, but they put this guy under world of hurt. So the last thing he wants to do is
not gonna mess with
my stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't want to deal with my. He's got no time to be my.
So good news, you're right. That site will go down eventually. In fact, he'll stop renewing the name. You'll probably be able to get it back after he stops renewing it, because it costs money every year to renew it.
Yeah. So if it goes back into the pool.
Yeah, you can in GoDaddy. You can put a watch on it and say, as soon as that's available, I want it. So this will take you a year, but in a year you'll be able to get everything back.
That's not so bad.
Yeah.
I can deal with that.
Yeah. And in the meantime, you can set up a site that's just slightly different.
Yeah, but how will people know?
Well, you don't have access to the WordPress account either?
Oh, I do. That's the beauty of it. I can go in and change it.
Oh, well, that's easy. You already have, and you own it. So you're good.
I just can't get to the hosting like this.
Yeah, you don't care about that. You don't care about that. You got the website. You don't need to do a website, sucker. You own it. You own the website. So he didn't take your WordPress login. You could even... Let's see, what could you do? You could certainly, in WordPress, you could say this site no longer responds to that address, it responds to this address. That'd be easy. And then it'd take that site down and go to your new address. WordPress, that's good. I thought that perhaps he'd gotten everything. If you still have access to your WordPress account, change that password. Make sure you put 2-factor on it so he can't get it back. And now you just tell you go into the WordPress site settings, or get somebody who knows it. There are a lot of consultants who do this, and say, no, this site doesn't respond to that address. And all of a sudden, that address will stop working. And you'll say, no, this site now responds to this address. That's easy to fix.
That is cool. So how should I'm not that technical. I don't really know much of WordPress.
Yeah, maybe get a consultant. The key, though, is to keep the passwords to yourself.
Yeah, I changed, when I realized what was going on, I changed all the WordPress.
Good. Yeah, I got to run. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888. Ask Leo, the phone number. Good news. We were talking to poor fella. This is okay. So this is a moral. You can learn a lot from this show by what other people are suffering from. I'm not going there. So earlier, remember, we had a caller who'd lost her AOL account because she couldn't remember the password. Make sure really the best thing to do with passwords is to get a password manager. There are lots of them. There's 1Password, there's LastPass. We have a sponsor, Bitwarden. It's software. Bitwarden's free. I think it's $10 a year if you want to, give them some money. It's cheap. You use these password managers to do two things. One, to generate unique passwords. See, every site should have a different password. I know that's a pain. If you have to remember it, you're not going to do that. But because you have a password manager, you let it generate a long, strong, completely unmemorizable password. Longer's better, right? With upper and lowercase letters and numbers and symbols and asterisks and also just gobbledygook, completely random. But then the password manager remembers that for you. And when you get to that site again, it even fills it in for you. So that's absolutely a must. Then you don't have to worry about forgetting your password. You only have one password to remember, and that's the password for the password manager. You do have to remember that. So that's one lesson to be learned. You should also, if you're setting up important accounts like email, you should make sure you do whatever you can to secure it. 2-factor authentication's great. They will be, often they'll give you recovery numbers. Make sure you put that in the password manager. They may say, give us a recovery email that's in a different system or a phone number so that you can recover your account. Always do all of those things. Really important. If Gloria had done that, we wouldn't have the problem. But, you enter your password once 10 years ago. It continues to work. You forget it. It's very common. No shame in that. It's just, here's a lesson we can all learn. You need a password manager. And if you don't want to do that, get a notebook and write the darn thing down. It's a little less secure. You have to come up with crazy passwords all on your own, all of that stuff. But better that than nothing. And then, of course, Jeff had the problem, which happens all the time. If you're not technical, but you want a website, you might hire somebody to do it. Strong suggestion that you do not let them own the domain name, that you do not let them own the site. Don't give them the keys to the kingdom, because if they disappear for whatever reason, you're out of luck. So if you have a consultant come in, design a website for you, that's fine. But you don't say, oh, you set up the account, you set up the domain name, because you won't, you run the risk of losing it. Now, of course, the reason you're hiring somebody is because it's complicated and it's technical and you don't know how to do it. All I can say is a good idea to figure that part out, at least to the degree that you can, so that you have some ownership, some control. I realize this stuff is complicated and difficult. But if you let somebody else do it, you're in their hands. Bill's on the line from Wichita. Hello, Bill.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Just fine. My question for you is, I'm getting all these spam emails, and I used to hit unsubscribe.
Yeah.
And then I thought, this is probably only validating the email address.
It's very good, Bill. That's exactly right. It depends. If it's a legitimate newsletter, unsubscribe will unsubscribe you. But if it's spam, it's just saying, yeah, I'm a real person. Hello.
So is there something I can get, a program on my computer or on my iPhone that will block them or just automatically erase them so I don't see them?
Yeah, it's hard to do because, and spammers work really hard to get around filters. So, but it is doable. It's just nothing's perfect. So there will be two problems with any spam filter: false positives and false negatives. False positives is a letter from, email from mom that doesn't get through because the spam filter said, well, mom kept talking about Viagra or whatever and put it in the spam bucket. False negatives are, actually, maybe that's a false negative. False negatives are spam that gets through because the spam check, because spammers are very clever. They're always trying to get around this. Mm-hmm. So what email program are you using?
Outlook.
You use Outlook. Okay. On the iPhone, you said?
On the iPhone, no. Outlook at home.
Okay.
But on my iPhone, I don't know what program I'm using.
Okay. So, yeah, probably the mail program that came with the iPhone.
Yes.
So the best way to filter spam is at the source. It's on the spam server. So you have an email address from your business or one you set up from your internet service provider. Who does your email?
My internet service provider.
So the first thing to do is check and see if they have anti-spam filtering. Because if you can do it server side, that's best, because then it gets stopped before you even download it. You can there's spam filtering on the server or spam filtering on your client, and Outlook has anti-spam protection. Apple Mail, you can download extensions for Apple Mail on your iPhone, but it's better if you filter it at the source, then you don't have to worry about it on your Outlook or on your iPhone. So check with your internet service provider to see what they do to fight spam. Many internet service providers now offer things like Spam Assassin or Spam Sieve. These are two server-side solutions. They're on email servers that keep it out of your inbox to begin with, which is always the best solution. I used to use, for a long time, I used Gmail, which has among the best anti-spam protections of all. Gmail's very good. And I would run my email through Gmail just to get rid of the spam. But nowadays, many internet service providers will have very good anti-spam protection. Who is it? Your local cable company or phone company?
Yes, excuse me, local cable company.
Local cable. Just depends. I mean, if they're good, they should have some spam filtering. And then there may be settings in it, and this is where you can play with the settings to get it to be just right. If you're getting too much spam, you make the settings more aggressive. If you're missing important emails, you make it less aggressive. And a lot of times tuning it can help.
On Outlook, there is, when you open up the email, at the top it says block this sender.
Yes.
And I do it to all the emails.
That does not hurt. But that does it locally only. So it'll still come through your Apple Mail, but it won't go into your Outlook.
So will it work on what I've set up for?
Yeah, it'll work to keep it out of your inbox. The problem, this will work, but the problem is that, as you probably noticed, spammers never use the same address more than once.
Okay, that was my other question. Yeah. So if I get 4 from one company,
you block it, but it's going to come from some. Yeah. In fact, a lot of times what they have is they buy a million email addresses, right? They're cheap.
Yes.
And then as the sending address, they'll pick one off that list, just random. And then they'll change it every once in a while so that you can't block it. So, because most spam you can't reply to. If it's real spam, you can't reply to it because they don't want you to know who they are.
Yes.
So blocking it is of limited value, but That is, and the other side of that is it's not blocking it on Apple Mail. It's just blocking it as it comes into Outlook. So it's still on your server. That's why you want, and you hope your internet service provider provides some spam tools on the server. That way they never go into your inbox at all. That's the ideal.
Okay, you said Spam Assassin. What was the other one?
Spam Sieve and Spam Assassin are commonly used by email providers. But call your cable company. Say, what are you doing about spam? And if they're not doing anything, then you do, in fact, need to get something locally. And there are third-party programs you can use to fight spam, depending on the program you're using. It's different for Apple Mail and Outlook. This is still a problem. It's sad. We haven't fixed it. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. And this is one reason, again, where, I say this a lot. If email is important to you, it's worth paying somebody for email. I use a company called Fastmail, and I pay them, but they have very good anti-spam filters. So, and you can control it. You can write rules. You can get, for instance, I say, I don't want any email from Russia or China. I don't know anybody in Russia or China. So if it's coming from there, it's probably spam. So you can create your own rules like that and fine-tune it. I have a couple of people who, for some reason, decided to put me on their joke mailing lists. You know those joke mailing lists? I don't want that email. I call that spam. So I have a filter rule for them. So that might be why I generally tell people not to use your ISP's email. It depends how important email is to you. It locks you into that internet service provider. That's a disadvantage. Plus, they often don't have all the features you want. If they don't have an anti-spam solution, then maybe go to a paid email provider that does.
I got you. All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I'm glad to talk to you. Thanks, Bill. Take care.
Right.
Bye-bye. Hello, Dickie D.
Leo, how are you, pal?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I called Spectrum and said, what are you doing about spam?
Yeah.
And they said, oh, we'll send you some.
Want some more? We got lots of extra.
Aren't you getting enough? You're on our Spam Plus program. I don't know what more we can do.
So apparently, thank you, N4BFR. Wichita is a Cox market, and Cox does have anti-spam solutions. So thank you to our Discord. So that's good. Let me see what Cox offers. I would say any good ISP will have anti-spam solutions. Let's put this link in the show notes. I'll put it in the chat. Yeah, they have email settings for spam. So the CAN-SPAM Act passed in 2004. How'd that work? Got rid of spam, right? No more spam.
Yeah.
Yay.
Mm-hmm.
That was a huge success. I do not know what Cox uses. That's the problem. Looks like they have some settings. You can do filter rules, blocked senders, neither of which are going to be very useful. The ideal spam solution actually it learns from spam. Let me put this in the show notes anyway. Because you constantly have to train. All right. I'm just waiting for KC to kick in. Leo Laporte, big tech guy. Oh, that's the best time of night in the disco. When you're out there, you're sweaty, you've been dancing all night, and that little tink, tink, tink intro comes on, and you know, here it comes. KC and the Sunshine Band, my boogeyman is here. Mr. Boogeyman himself, Dick Debartolo, Mad Magazine's maddest writer, and our gizmo wizard. Hello, Dickie D.
Leo, how you doing, pal?
Well, I'm sweaty and dancing up a storm. That's what I am doing.
You look great in those tight white pants, I'll tell you.
With my cornu. So what can we do? Dick joins us every week just to kind of spend my money, basically, on some piece of junk.
Okay.
So what do you got for me here?
All right, so this is a new version of an old piece of junk. And so the marina
I say
where
that in the kindest way, you understand. I mean, I don't...
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I backed this stuff up. I bought a dozen of these.
I know. Okay. You put your money where your mouth is.
Exactly. So the marina where I've had my boat for more than 40 years is closing at the end of October.
Oh.
And 2 weeks ago, they had a party on one of the docks, and it was starting at 7. And I knew it would be getting dark out there, and the end of the dock has no lighting. And I went to the warehouse, and I found my old lantern. I don't know if you remember this. Okay, so the first time you open it, it's like a fireplace. Okay?
Oh, it's flickery and pretty.
I put one on I bought a bunch and put one on every table there. But then if you need to look at what you're eating...
Oh, magic.
Every time you fold it and open it again, it changes to, it can be a fire or it can be a white light. Now, when I bought mine, it also had a flashlight at the bottom.
What happened?
But a lot of people said, well, where can we buy those? So I went to Amazon and I found this particular one, which is fire and then white, 360 degree. So it's really great, like at a picnic table.
It looks pretty bright, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think it's 350 lumens.
I have,
Leo,
I bought from my sconces in my office. I have sconces on the wall, old-fashioned, pretending I'm colonial.
Yeah, oh, yes, yeah.
And I bought some of those flickery LEDs, and it looks just like I got a little fire. They're great. I love it. It's a nice effect.
They're great.
That's what this does.
Yeah, but Leo, I could not believe the price. I paid $18 for the one I bought with the flashlight in the bottom. So I go there, and it says pack of 4, $27.
Yeah.
And I go, oh, that's great. And then I see, click here for $10 off.
Oh.
So I click there, and that's why I bought a dozen of them. It comes to $4.
You bought a dozen of them.
A dozen, yeah. Because you know what? I brought them down to the party. They had a second party.
You could light up the whole park, all the park.
And then I said, people, when you leave as a going away marina present, take a lantern with you.
They're only $4 each. Take a lantern.
Exactly. Yeah.
Aren't you generous?
Yeah. So I just checked before the show, and they still have that deal. $27. Click the $10 off. And you get 4 of them for basically $4.25 each.
If you go to Dick's website, gizwiz.biz, GIZWIZ.biz, click the button that says that Giz Wiz visits the tech guy, you can get a link to that and that special deal. And you, too, can buy 20
Well, you only have to buy 4.
Now, the chat room just sent me a link to the West Side Rag that says the boat basin has deteriorated so much that it will have to be vacated by November. Are they rebuilding your boat basin?
They are, yes, they're going to have an entirely new marina.
$90 million project.
Yeah. Well, the money was approved years ago. The problem is they want they out of the blue in April, they sent a notice around and said, everybody out by October 31st.
Wow.
Yeah. A lot of people, that is their home. So
people are living there?
Yes.
Oh,
a lot of people. So people were scrambling to find a place to put their boat. I
was built in the
sold my
30s.
boat yesterday.
You sold your boat. You got out. You said, "That's it. I'm done. I'm through. No more boats for me."
Until they build a new marina. But this is the way the city works. 3 years ago, they threw all the people out of the parking lot because a brand new parking lot would be built. They have not done the digging yet. They have not even put up the sign that says starting now.
It's just an empty lot.
Yeah.
Oh, man. This is New York City, man. It's
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So construction is not to start to 2023. They just want the marina empty now.
So they're going to dredge it. They're going to pull everything out.
And put in a whole new, bigger
and maybe
marina.
In 2024, you'll buy a boat again.
Well, I'm thinking more like 2026 or 27.
I'm sad to hear that. So this is your work boat, right? Your last boat.
Yeah, my little work boat. Yeah, absolutely.
You and Dennis took us for a ride the last time we were in the city on the beautiful.
Yes. It was very funny, Leo. It's a Farallon. Evidently, no one on the East Coast knows about it.
But yeah, we know about them out here. Oh yeah.
Yes. Sure, yeah. So I get a call from a guy, and he goes, "I need that boat. I need that boat." He said, "Don't tell it to anybody. Here, what's your Zelle? What's your phone number? I'm going to Zelle you $1,500," which he did.
Nice.
And then yesterday,
no wonder
his wife
you're buying dozens of lanterns.
Yes.
Wait a minute. What happened? His wife called?
His wife called and said, "Listen, my husband is so crazy about this boat. I don't know who you are, but evidently he thinks you're famous. So he's not." Is this funny? So he's not only crazy that he's going to get a Farallon, he's going to get a Farallon from a famous person.
Dick Debartolo's Farallon.
Farallon.
Wow. What's the name of the boat? What's the name of the boat?
My boat, I just called Powerboat Magazine.
It's called?
Because I had...
Your boat is called Powerboat Magazine?
Yes, because for 20 years, I also wrote a monthly boating columm for Powerboat Magazine. Yeah, but you don't... And I thought that would look nice on the side.
That'd be like me naming my boat Scientific American. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, they would sue you for that because you never worked at Scientific American.
That's a good point.
I was going to call a twit, but then I figured I don't want boats stopping me and say, "Hey, what?
Hey, you're a twit." So this guy, is he going to rename it? Dick Debartolo's famous boat?
I have no idea. But
Giz Wiz 2?
He's driving up here to get it.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad you sold it. I'm sad you sold it. But
I'm sad too.
It's the end of an era. You had a houseboat out there?
Oh, yes. This was the Farallon is my 26th boat. I mean,
oh my goodness. You were a boathead.
I've never owned a car. Never owned a car. But
well, it's pretty typical in New York. New Yorkers don't have cars; they have boats.
Yeah.
What do you think?
And
live
one
in
came
Venice?
with a trailer.
No, but the nice thing is that the boat basin is a couple of blocks away from you, so that was very convenient.
5 blocks away.
It's actually easier than parking. You just have a boat. And if you go to the grocery store, you got to go in New Jersey, but that's okay. All right, Dick D.
I've shopped from my boat. Okay, Leo.
GizWiz.biz. Get those lanterns. Now I understand why he's buying lanterns. The guy had a windfall. Suddenly, you get all the lanterns you can so buy a lantern. You can also buy some Mad Magazine memorabilia, Match Game memorabilia, some Giz Wiz Garbage is a great book. There, Good Days in Mad that Dick wrote about his days working at Mad Magazine. Of course, the What the Heck Is It contest, a chance to win an autographed copy of Mad Magazine. All lots of fun. GizWiz.biz. And don't forget Dick's podcast, GizWiz.tv. Have a great week, Dick.
Thank you, sir. You too.
Thank you. I'm sad about your boat, though. It feels like the end of an era.
Me
a little
too.
bit. Yeah. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Have a great Geek Week. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWiT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on MacBreak Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.